Alright, so after the win we got against the Washington Wizards, unfortunately we lost against the Atlanta Hawks. We pretty much had to fly all the way to Atlanta, and Atlanta, unfortunately, they just had the energy and they just managed to beat us. Like Atlanta, they actually have a fairly exciting team, which is I'm a little bit surprised with the Hawks that how they're like 12th seed, probably part of because like how stacked are the East are. They got a really good core in my personal opinion, but for some reason they're just not doing good on the records. But pretty much the Clippers did not have many flaws in this game, just because I mean yeah, they had some errors. I think one of the biggest key errors was in the first quarter, like our interior defense was kind of like fairly sloppy and all that, and I believe they just the Hawks were just getting all the rebounds and all that, and but then all the rest of the game it was actually pretty tight, especially um actually second quarter we caught the lead, we caught the momentum, then the Hawks came back, and then the second half essentially was a pretty close game, but unfortunately the Hawks they just had momentum towards their side. But anyways, gonna go to the player by player analysis. Well, I don't want to say analysis, but just opinions or breakdown or whatever you guys want to call it. So first, let's go with Marcus Morris. Marcus Morris did pretty solid. Got some nice buckets, nice midi, just doing pretty solid things. But let's just say he got fouled out. All right, it was a lot of BS's. The refs made some really BS decisions. Um, yeah, maybe Mug did probably travel, but they really can't throw out technical fouls like nothing. So Marcus Morris, unfortunately, he got ejected in the third quarter. And then you pretty much have Reggie Jackson. Big shots to Reggie. He was getting all the buckets. Um, Unfortunately, though, Reggie did made some little hiccup plays in the way. Like one of the plays, he just turned the ball over, and then the crunch time, he kind of especially when we were actually decently close, we were just down by 4 points, I believe. And we had plenty of time. Reggie Jackson just kind of settled a little too much for a long bomb, and rather than driving to the rack. But again, if that went in, of course we wouldn't be complaining. So it's easy to say. And Reggie actually does make semi long bombs in the way, so can't complain too much. But nevertheless, Reggie did pretty good in my opinion. Just did his job, get his buckets, just does my apologies for the really big hiccup, but yeah, big government, he just did his thing. Shout out to Reggie. Zubac, I know, after some rough games that Havika Zubac had in the past, Zubac in this game did pretty good actually. Like I know he still gets the ball knocked off his hands pretty easily, but he dropped 24 points and got I think a near double double or a double double, I forgot, but it was pretty good for Vika Zubac. Especially the Hawks team when they have guys like Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu. Um, Zubac managed to do fairly solid, but it's just kind of his weaknesses is just he's on the slower side of the spectrum, and how the Hawks they're more of a quicker type of team, so Zubac would kind of have some hiccups against playing defense against that. He just if Zubac could get mobility, then he'd be a dream come true. It would be the best for us. But shout out to Zubac as well too. Did pretty solid. Did his thing. I know he unfortunately got dunked on by Onyeka Okongwu. Big shout out to Onyeka Okongwu. He's a pretty solid big man for the Hawks. He can do it all, get boards, just pretty good energy to have. And then Nick Batum. Nick Batum did pretty great. He was knocking down threes. He scored like 13 points. He was just doing it all, being really versatile as we would love Nick Batum to see. He's starting to, get back into rhythm. If you guys noticed it, and that's a really big plus. Like that is like pretty promising. And then Amir Coffee, he started for the Clippers again, and Amir Coffee, like, hey, his game and this game was just really good. His hustle was amazing. His defense, I felt like he managed to held his own against Trae Young. I know Trae Young dropped 26 points, eh. But Amir Coffee, I felt he did fairly solid, especially on the defensive end. He was great, and his hustle was amazing. So that's probably why Tyronn Lue now really likes playing Amir Coffee, which is Amir Coffee. He earned out Clipper Nation trust, and he didn't score too much. He only scored 8 points, but he really like did it all. Like especially like he just has some really good hustle abilities, and actually he ran a lot of the point guard plays, and I like when Amir Coffee runs the point guard plays because like yeah, he's no Rajon Rondo, he's not a Ricky Rubio, he's not a John Stockton, he's not a Steve Nash, he's not a who else is good passing? LeBron in passing. But Amir Coffee, like it's still pretty good. Like he's like yeah, he's not like a Rajon Rondo passing ability, but it's solid enough that you could kind of get a wide open guy to knock down a spot up three. Like when Amir Coffee runs to the point guard, he actually has some solid ball movement, and then like I said, it would result to someone getting open. As opposed to Reggie running point guard, like yeah, he has pretty good handles and his playmaking is actually improving, so that's good. But yet you will still like essentially get a lot of ISO plays. As opposed if Amir runs point guard, the ball would just have some more flow, if you know what I mean. And that's a good part about Amir Coffee. He's also like fairly versatile too. Like he can kind of play power forward as well too. Like as we seen with Amir Coffee against Chris Porzingis, he managed to hold his own. And then who else started as actually who? Oh yeah, I think I mentioned all the starters already. So now let's go to the bench. Terrence Mann did his really good stuff. He really hustled, played great defense, just doing Terrence Mann things. Um, he played with so much of a good defense that Trae Young just got a little. He literally made a big flop, and then I guess the refs just gave him a call. But nevertheless, good stuff, Terrence Mann. Luke Kennard, fat shout out to him because he was knocking it. He was like, oh, it was nothing but smooth, not smooth like a smoothie. Like he was just draining it. And hey, from compared to beginning of season 2, right now, Luke Kennard really stepped up. Like even his playmaking's like improved as well too. And honestly, I felt like Kennard should have been like kind of like shooting it in the last minutes because he's more efficient. But I guess Reggie's more clutch, so you can't complain too much. I mean, I can't complain too much, I should say, it's my fault. But Luke Kennard, shout out to him as well too. Harnstein, Harnstein, he did fairly solid, but he did get 3 fouls in one quarter, so that's that. But um, he did like he got 5 rebounds. Um, he did his thing. He's a pretty good backup big. And oh, before I move on. Hardenstein, like one thing I would love to see him like try to improve on his free throws because Zubac, when he goes to the line, he would make him and get us some easy points. Hardenstein, he could definitely work on it. If he makes his free throws and control his fouls, then he would be really good. Which he already is, but there's always room for improvement. And then the man himself, Brandon Boston Jr. Finally, he got some minutes. Like he got 6 minutes, which is still pretty low if we're being honest. But at the same time, though, um, I mean, to be fair, like I guess you could give Tyronn Lue a tiny benefit of doubt for not playing Brandon Boston Jr. just because like he does travel the ball like a lot of times, but maybe not a lot of times, but at the same time, a lot of times because like the last 2 3 games when he actually played, like he just like would get some travels, like especially like in this game, like like he would tend to double dribble like a decent amount of times, which is like that's definitely one thing that he can work on. But we all know like Brandon Boston, he's definitely up next. His ball handling is pretty darn great, but always room for improvement. But again, I still feel like Brandon Boston Jr. should get like a lot of minutes, like at least a cool like 15, 20 minutes. So to give our main guys like some more of a breather and you just actually utilize elite talent. Especially same with my boy Jay Scrub in the beginning of the season. Like, man, both of them could have definitely used some minutes. And who knows, maybe Paul George would still be playing right now just because you know, like Paul George would actually have some rest and not get, fatigue and all that. You never know. But that's that. But that's one thing that me and Clip Ganger Don't Bang would love to see. Like, how Brandon Boston Jr. get utilized, which is like, I mean, yeah, like if, I mean, yeah, like I know, like if you win games, like it seems okay, but to be honest, I just prefer to have him get utilized if possible, and right now I'm sure it's more than possible because we all know Brandon Boston. He he's all around too. Like people just like when they see a person who's like a walking bucket and all that, they just assume that he's just a good offense player. He's not good on defense, but Brandon is different though. He's good all around, and and like especially on the offense, he's really good on the offense. On the defense, he's really good on the defense. But that's that, and I think that's all I can only talk about for the Clippers. Like, I mean, they played pretty good. It's just that um, they had some little sloppy plays that could always be worked on. And plus, the Hawks, they do have Trae Young, and we are missing the best basketball player in the world in Kawhi Leonard, and then Paul George, who's another another elite talent. But now let's talk about the Hawks a little bit. First, they got Trae Young, walking bucket, made his stuff, did his thing. I know he flops, which is I just started picking up. I started noticing that he flops, but eh, Trae Young's Trae Young. He's the Atlanta Hawks franchise player, which is well deserved. And then Danilo Gallinari, he played uh, fairly solid. Managed to hit down some threes, get some rebounds, especially with his really good size. Like he's actually 6'10", which is that's a big plus for a guy like Danilo Gallinari. And pretty much Clint Capella, solid big man, got some boards. Definitely brought the energy for the big man wise. Kevin Herter, he had a lot of clutch shots. He was just drilling them, and then which was pretty. Uh, I did not like that. I just, I essentially did not like that. Nah, Herter, I wish he bricked them. So we could have had a nice overtime, and then the Clippers would have had a beautiful dub. But hey, credit to him. And supposedly, John Collins' play, honestly, he didn't really do too much. Like, I know, like from what I heard, the Hawks fans they don't really like John Collins too much because he has way too many swing factors. I know a lot of Clippers fans are back in like last year they wanted John Collins, but I don't know. He just has a lot of swing factors, I guess. But I'm neutral on that. And then they got DeAndre Hunter, who's a pretty good 3-and-D for the Atlanta Hawks, so which I guess it kind of justified on why they traded um, Cam Reddish to the Knicks for like Kevin Knox, which is basically nothing really much in return. But still, they should have got way more value. But that's probably another video. But I guess DeAndre Hunter, he's that really good 3-and-D guy. And then they also have Lou Williams. Honestly, like um, he was solid, I guess. Managed to get some buckets. Big shout to Lou Will, man, Clipper legend, and from the heart, he was a big culture changer. But unfortunately, he kind of had to go because we had a lot of shooting guards. So that's that. But none but love for Lou Williams. They had DeLon Wright, who was he was alright, I guess. Nothing too much to say. Pretty solid. Um, they also got Onyeka Okongwu. Big shout out to him. He dunked on our boy Vika Zubac. He's just a tremendous like energy guy. Like especially he got like 9 rebounds, which is that's pretty nice. And he also plays pretty good defense. So and he is like a fairly versatile guy. Like he kind of gives like a lot of a Tristan Thompson type vibes. Like he's like like a really like a good big man to have on your team. Like low key, like there are a lot of times when the Clippers could definitely use a guy like Onyeka Okongwu. Like low key, especially like the when the Clippers face against the Denver Nuggets. Imagine the Clippers had Onyeka Okongwu instead of Montrez. Like we'd be getting boards and good defense would have been played against Nikola Jokic. You know, but that's that. Atlanta, like I'm not gonna lie, they have a well structured team, but of course, like their coaching, I guess, could use some work because they're not playing the homie Sharif Cooper, man. Like Sharif, bro. Like, I know it's gonna be like a side note, but hey, I just want to get that off my chest. Sharif Cooper, man, whew, if he actually gets the opportunity, if he gets some minutes, he would do pretty good because he's honestly like a Lou Williams that can dime. Like Sharif is like a bucket getter, but he also can throw legit dimes, like 20 points per game and 8 assists per game. Like, a lot of people were saying Sharif was too small and all that, but Sharif gets a lot of the buckets like near the rim, so I don't see the problem that why Sharif shouldn't be getting the minutes. Like as a Clippers fan, like I was having a mental breakdown when we took Jason Preston over Sharif Cooper, which is I'm still like I'm not gonna cap, like I'm still pretty disappointed that we passed up on the man Sharif Cooper. I know a lot of other Clippers fans they wanted Nashawn Highland, but I'm a Sharif guy because Sharif he could kill like a lot of birds with one stone. Like he's a bucket getter and he can legit dime. Like that's a really good point guard to have. Like yeah, like sure, like he's pretty small on a defensive end, but I mean, from what I've like peeked from his G League highlights and even a little bit on the college highlights, like he's actually like pretty underrated on defense. Like I mean, hey, Sharif Cooper is like what, like 6 foot, like well, like if you okay, worst case scenario, like let's say if you really want to be Mr. Devil's Advocate, 5'11", all right, but guys like Patrick Beverley, he was 6'1", but he still managed to become a really good defender and also a good rebounder. And Sharif, he also could get boards as well too. Like he has the hustle in his game, and it'll be so good. Like if you can have Sharif Cooper as your starting point guard, like he's definitely, in my opinion, like given the fair chance, if he was drafted to a team like the Celtics or any team that needs a point guard, he would be pretty good. Like in my opinion, like I could definitely see this guy making like at least multiple times an All Star. But like Atlanta, like in a way it's a wrong situation, but in a way it's a right situation because I guess you can learn from a guy like Trey Young, and Sharif could improve on his strap, and his strap is getting pretty promising. But that's that. But hey, 2023 NBA draft. That's when we choose our franchise point guard, and it's gonna be the homie Scooty Henderson, or the homie Scott Clark, or the homie Jaden Bradley, or the homie Josian Gorman, or the homie Dior Johnson, or Jaden Bradley. But hey, I'm just going silly right now, man. But I mean, what I mean by silly, I mean by side notes. But hey, that's pretty much what I'm going to talk about. What I got to say in general. But just let me know what you think about the game in general. Like just I'm gonna further sum it up. Like pretty much like the Clippers essentially play pretty good, but if I'm just gonna want to get really nitpicky, because obviously you can always do better, and the Clippers ultimately did lose the game, so I guess I'm gonna have to go nitpicky side. Is we just got pretty sloppy in the way in the first quarter, and we just kind of like definitely got to control the turnovers a bit in a way. And, the shot selection could definitely work on, especially with Reggie Jackson. Like, he took, like, kind of like a long bomb when it was, like, 30 seconds. Like, instead, just drive to the rack. But, yeah, that's all I got to say. Like, it was pretty good playing by the Clippers. Unfortunately, we just lost. But we're going to face the Detroit Pistons on Sunday, I believe. So, hopefully, let's beat them. I believe we should beat them because the only good player they have is Kate Cunningham, and they got Sadiq Bey and they got Jeremy Grant. But yeah. But like I said, just let me know what you think about the game. Be sure to leave a comment below, and I'll try my best to talk with y'all. Be sure to leave a like and comment, subscribe, and as y'all know, have a great night.